Hey everyone, hope you are doing well. Now today I'm going to be looking at another EasySMX controller. They kindly sent me one. Now if you remember last year, I did review another one of their controllers, the Gamer's Choice. It was mainly for the Nintendo Switch really, and I walked away pretty happy with it. You know, it was half the price of a Nintendo Pro controller. Well, today I'm going to be looking at the EasySMX 2.4G wireless controller. I mean, look at that. It's got to be good, right? Yeah, the 9110. This controller actually works with the Nintendo Switch. I'm mainly going to be reviewing it on that system. However, it does work on the PC, and I've got quite a bit of use out of it as well. For some reason, it supports the PS3. I don't know why. Do people still use that? But it works with it, that's the main thing. It also works with Android tablets, so if you want to do some mobile gaming, I guess it will work. I've already been using this for a week or so, and we'll talk about it. Is it worth buying? It is still half the price of a Pro controller, but is it better than last year's model? Let's take a look anyway. Okay, firstly, let's get rid of my pads. Yes, I do have a problem. Far too many controllers. Right, this is the main event, the EasySMX 2.4G wireless controller. So, like I just showed, nothing really any different here. But we do have a bit of blurb here. So you've got light control, 5 settings, and also vibration control, 5 settings. I don't think I've come across a Joypad with that much option. But if I can get this thing open, we can take a look inside. So like I said, I have already been using this for about a week and a half, and so I've got plenty of usage out of this. So the main thing which is different over the old pad is it does actually seem to come with its own USB stick receiver. So it's pretty straightforward, just a USB stick. So you would plug this into your Switch dock. It's a good point. You need to use this docked. Unlike the other pad, which was wireless, it has to be plugged into the dock to use. Likewise, if you're using this on the PC, just plug this into one of your USB ports and it instantly works. You don't need to mess around with Bluetooth settings or anything like that. And inside we have the actual Joypad itself and a small instruction manual. So let's get rid of the box. So like I said, USB stick receiver. So here's the Joypad. Now I actually quite like this design. It's yeah, very colourful, I guess. Smoke effect. Yeah, it's not that dissimilar, but I mean, one of the big things is the fact this has also got back buttons. Now, I don't know how useful these are. I definitely used these while, you know, testing this pad, and I had mixed results. I'll talk about that in a bit. What else have you got? So you've got USB-C on the top, which is always handy. I guess you could plug this into your Switch with USB-C. I have to admit I haven't tried that. I don't know what this little bit on top is. It looks like maybe something can attach to it to charge it. This is also chargeable. But the main thing is you can, once you've turned it on, you've got your lights. They all appear here. I think you've got to admit that does look quite nice. Like I said, you've got different settings for the brightness. I'm not actually quite sure that does too much. You also have vibration. You know what? I think this will need to be hooked up to a Switch first. Let's do that.
Few moments later.
Okay, so we've hooked it up to the Switch. Now, as you can see, we can change the brightness of the colours. You can even use it off, you know, if the colours are too bright for you or whatever. The vibration, it's quite a strong vibration, and I must admit, on some of the games I used, you probably want to keep it on maybe the 3rd setting. I think that's probably the best, otherwise it's going to feel a bit too much. And you have to be aware as well, if you are using the vibration on setting 5, that's going to eat the battery up. Talking about a battery, I generally got about 8 to 10 hours out of this pad. Okay, now, so to use those buttons on the back of the controller, you need to actually customize them, well, assign one of the other buttons to these. So I'm going to pick M3. So all you have to do, it's quite straightforward. It's not complicated at all, I promise. Just hold down your button on the back. Now, as you can see, we've still got blue light. You hold down back, that will change to like a purple colour. You pick the button you want to transfer to the back. So let's go for the RB. And then once you've done that, it will stay purple. Then press the button on the back again. And that's it. It's pretty straightforward. It will turn blue. The good thing is you can still use RB or whatever button you choose, as well as the button on the back. And you can do that up to 4 times with the different buttons. You can clear them as well. Everything is in the instruction manual though. Also, if you want to use this with a PS3, if you want to use this with Windows, all of the instructions are in it. It's pretty straightforward, to be fair. I wasn't really sure what the turbo button did, so I've looked it up in the manual. So all you have to do to activate this one, right, is press and hold any key you want to set with turbo, then press turbo, and that'll change like a red flashing thing. The turbo LED will start flashing red, yep. After that, you're free to hold this button during gameplay to achieve a fast strike. And then you can hold this button down again, press turbo to disable. Like that. Pretty straightforward. Why would you want to do that? Maybe a shoot 'em up game where you're constantly firing with one of the buttons. Okay, let's actually try this on the Switch. And I'm going to talk about some of the features it has got that might be useful, or some of the features it doesn't have. Be right back. Okay, so one thing I just want to say, and I can't believe I didn't notice this earlier, the actual button layout is set up like an Xbox pad. So if you are going to be using this on a Nintendo Switch, then just bear that in mind, that the buttons will be flipped around. No real big issue though. And one other thing I wanted to mention is the fact that if you're going to be using a turbo button, which I thought with Cuphead could be a good idea, it doesn't appear to work properly. Every time I try and set a turbo, it will try and save or take a snapshot. It's also worth pointing out the turbo button is the share button on the Switch. It does have a home button separate, but I don't appear to be able to set up the turbo function. On the PC, it's absolutely fine though. Breath of the Wild, still a great game. Such a shame Nintendo delayed the sequel though, but you know what? A delayed game, it will turn out better in the end. Now, I mean, so far, everything is working as I was expecting it to. We can take snapshots with that button as well. My main thing was, does this have gyro controls? And let's pull the bow and arrow. No, it doesn't, unfortunately. This is a bit of a setback because last year's EasySMX controller, the one I reviewed, did, and it was a great feature to have. It is such a shame this pad doesn't have it though. So you can still aim with the right stick like usual, but that's about it. The rumble works pretty well on the games that I have tried. Like I said, probably best to keep it on about the 3rd setting, save your batteries a bit. But apart from that, everything is working as I expected to. Okay, so let's wrap this review up then, right? Is it worth buying? I think it depends on what you want out of this pad. Before I get into that, I just want to talk about a few of the things that maybe I was slightly disappointed with. Like we just found out in the video, it doesn't have gyro controls. And considering a lot of Nintendo Switch games do have gyro controls, Zelda, Splatoon, that is disappointing. Especially since the last pad, EasySMX, sent me, did have gyro controls. Unfortunately, that pad didn't have rumble. This one does, but I definitely think gyro is better. Number 2 is you can't use this on an undocked Switch. The tops of these pads, they're exactly the same as the last Joypad that EasySMX sent. I don't know, I just find these tops, you know, I find them a little bit rough compared to, say, a pad that I use quite often, which is, it kind of feels a bit rubbery, a bit easier on the fingers. And the same goes for the triggers as well. They just feel slightly off. Not a bad thing, don't get me wrong. I think it's just because I use the Xbox pad so much that coming to this was a bit of an eye-opener, really. But really, for a pad that is half the price of an official one, isn't such a bad thing. If you're using this for, traditional games, the D-pad works fine. I had a quick go on a 2D game, seemed to be fine. PC, no issues. Like I said, plug in that receiver on the PC. You don't have to mess around with Bluetooth. And it's easy to, put into standby by pressing the home button there. Comes on instantly, so you're not going to be wasting any power. I would have liked to maybe have seen battery life last a little bit longer. Now, if you do want to buy this pad yourself, you can use the code ADHGaming on the link down below. And let me know down in the comments. What do you reckon of this pad? Do you have it yourself? Are you going to be getting it after this review? I'd love to hear your comments. If you do want to see more videos like this in the future, again, let me know. Like and subscribe would be amazing. Thank you so much for watching. See you again soon. Laters. Bye.